At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Rob, a quiet, sensitive young boy living in the kind of place most people pass through without a second glance, a small, modest hotel in a sleepy corner of Florida. Rob doesn't live here because it's glamorous. He lives here because it's what he has, him and his dad, getting by. Right from his very first scene, you can feel the weight Rob carries. This isn't a kid bouncing out of bed excited for school. This is a boy who moves through his mornings like he's wading through water. And when we follow him into the woods near the hotel one quiet morning, just a short walk before the school bus arrives, we begin to understand why. Standing there between the trees, Rob suddenly gets pulled into a memory. A few months earlier, his mother passed away. We see it in a flash, the funeral, the faces, the silence. Rob standing there, small and devastated, in a world that kept moving even though everything inside him had stopped. That memory hasn't left him. It lives just beneath the surface, rising up when the world gets too quiet. But here's what's fascinating about Rob: he doesn't crumble. He keeps walking. He keeps going. And that quiet resilience is going to be tested again and again before this story is over. Then, just as we're settling into Rob's lonely world, the movie throws something completely unexpected at him. There, in the middle of the trees, half hidden by shadow and overgrowth, sits an old abandoned-looking cabin. Rob moves toward it slowly, cautiously. And what he finds outside that cabin stops him cold. A tiger. A massive, powerful, living tiger, locked inside a heavy metal cage. The animal looks directly at him. Rob's heart pounds. He backs away slowly, and then he runs. Back at the hotel, Rob grabs his bag, catches the bus, and tries to convince himself that what he saw was normal. It is not. But he keeps it to himself, for now. The school bus, as it turns out, is its own kind of battleground. A group of boys has decided that Rob is their entertainment. Day after day, they mock him, laugh at him, chip away at him. Rob's response? Silence. He looks down. He waits for it to pass. Then the bus makes a stop and a new face gets on. We are introduced to Sina, and the moment the bullies hear her name, they start laughing. Some people make easy targets out of anything. Sina doesn't argue with them. She walks to a seat, sits down, and keeps her face unreadable. But you can tell, she is furious on the inside. She and Rob don't speak yet. But they've already noticed each other in the way that only two people who understand what it feels like to be laughed at really can. Meanwhile, Rob's mind refuses to let go of the tiger. In class later that day, while the teacher explains something he's not hearing, Rob pulls out a piece of paper and begins to draw. Not the classroom. Not the lesson. The tiger, but free. Moving through the forest the way it was meant to. In his imagination, there are no bars. There is no cage. Just power and grace and freedom. While drawing, something else surfaces. Memories of his mother. She used to carve things from wood, delicate, beautiful figures shaped by her hands. She even taught Rob. Those memories are bittersweet, they make him feel close to her and devastated by her absence at the same time. His thoughts are interrupted when his name is called. The principal wants to see him, right now. Here's where the story adds another layer of cruelty to Rob's world. Rob has a serious skin condition that affects his legs, causing redness, soreness, and visible wounds that won't fully heal. And apparently, some parents at the school have been raising concerns. They're afraid their children might somehow catch what Rob has. Never mind that it's not contagious. Never mind that Rob's father has explained this repeatedly. The principal still suggests, politely but firmly, that Rob might need to stay home for a while. Rob absorbs this quietly, the way he absorbs everything, and walks back into the hallway. That's where he meets Miss Mills. Her books and papers have spilled across the floor, and Rob, despite everything that just happened to him, immediately stops and helps her pick them up. That act of instinctive kindness tells you everything about who Rob is. Miss Mills thanks him and notices the drawing he's holding. When she looks at it, she's genuinely stunned. She tells him he's talented. She encourages him to keep drawing. And before they part ways, she makes him promise to bring her more work when she returns from leave. Rob nods. And for a brief moment, something shifts in his face. Someone saw him. Really saw him. After school, Rob witnesses something that forces him out of his silence. Sina has been cornered by a group of kids who've been mocking her name all day. She finally snaps. She swings at one of them. But the girl she hits is bigger, older, and she hits back hard. Sina goes down. Rob doesn't think. He runs in. He tells the bullies to back off. For a few seconds, it almost works, and then they turn on him instead. Rob runs. He's not proud of it, but he survives. A little later, Sina climbs onto the school bus looking like she's been through a storm. Which she has. She drops into the seat next to Rob and starts venting. She hates this town, she hates these kids, she hates all of it. Rob listens. And then he does something quietly brave. He tells her about his skin condition. He's usually ashamed of it. But he tells her anyway. Sina's response is unexpected. She asks if she can catch it from him, and when Rob explains that she can't, she actually looks a little disappointed. She'd been thinking that if she got sick, maybe she'd get to stay home from school. When that plan falls apart, she pivots. If Rob has to stay home, she'll bring his homework to him. She says it simply, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. Rob doesn't quite know what to do with that kind of uncomplicated generosity. He's not used to it. That evening, Rob's father reads the letter from the principal, and he's furious. Not at Rob. At the school. Ignorance. He's explained the condition. He's told them it's not contagious. And still they treat his son like a problem to be managed. He vents his anger, settles himself down, and gives Rob his medicine. Then he goes to make dinner. Rob retreats to his room and does what he always does when the world feels like too much. He picks up a small knife and a piece of wood and begins to carve. That night, he carves a figure that looks like Sina. He doesn't think too much about why. He just carves. And when he falls asleep, he dreams of her, riding the tiger through the forest, wild and free and fearless. The next day, something significant happens. Rob is outside tending the garden when the school bus rolls by. The bullies are at it again, and this time, one of them throws something directly at Rob. It hits him in the ribs. Hard. He doubles over in pain and rage and helplessness. In his mind, unbidden, comes an image. What if the tiger were here right now? Then the bus stops. And Sina gets off, holding his homework exactly like she promised. Rob thanks her. And then, because he can't hold it in anymore, he tells her about the tiger. Sina's reaction is immediate and electric. She wants to see it. Now. Today. They stop by the motel first so Sina can borrow some of Rob's clothes for the walk through the woods. While waiting, Sina explores Rob's father's room and stops when she sees the carved wooden figures arranged everywhere. She studies each one, turning them over in her hands. She tells Rob he's a real artist, like Michelangelo before anyone knew he was Michelangelo. Then she finds the small figure that looks unmistakably like her. She laughs. Rob goes red. She tells him it's amazing. They head into the forest. When they reach the cabin and Sina finally sees the tiger, truly sees it, standing enormous and alive behind those metal bars, she goes completely still. Then she asks the question that's been hanging in the air since Rob first found it. Why is something this magnificent locked in a cage in the middle of nowhere? Rob has a theory. He thinks the tiger belongs to Beauchamp, the man who owns the motel. A man who, as we'll discover, collects things he has no business collecting. Sina's anger is instant and righteous. This is wrong. This animal should be free. They need to do something. Before they can figure out what, they hear an engine. Beauchamp's car. They run. Back at the motel, Rob's father meets Sina and is quietly pleased. His son has a friend. A real one. It's a small, ordinary thing, and it means everything. Sina's mother arrives to pick her up. The moment she steps out of the car, she starts scolding. Where were you? Why are you in someone else's clothes? What is going on? The argument escalates quickly. Sina gets in the car furious. They drive away still fighting. Rob watches them go and stands in the parking lot for a long moment, unsure what just happened. The next morning, Rob gets a conversation he didn't know he needed. While helping Willie, the warm, steady cleaning lady who works at the motel, he asks her what she thinks about animals being kept in cages. Willie pauses. Then she tells him about a bird. When she was a little girl, her father gave her a small green bird in a cage. She loved it. But over time, watching it trapped made her unbearable sad. So she opened the cage and let it go. Her father was furious. He told her she'd basically handed it to a snake. But Willie tells Rob something quietly radical. She still doesn't regret it. Sometimes, at night, she dreams about that bird, singing somewhere, free, alive. Rob listens to every word. Then Beauchamp himself appears. He pulls Rob aside and offers him a job: take care of the rare animal he recently acquired. Feed it. Keep it alive. In return, Rob gets paid. Rob plays dumb. He acts like he has no idea what animal the man is talking about. And Beauchamp takes him right to the tiger's cage. The reveal of how Beauchamp got the tiger is almost comically corrupt. Someone owed him money and paid him with a tiger instead. That's it. That's the whole reason this magnificent animal is rotting in a forest cage, because of a debt settlement. Beauchamp demonstrates how to feed the tiger. Then the tiger lunges at the cage bars. Beauchamp falls over in sheer terror. Rob barely manages not to laugh. Before leaving, Beauchamp hands Rob the keys to the cage and one clear instruction: tell no one. If word gets out, there will be consequences. As Beauchamp walks away, the tiger sends him off in the most perfect possible way. Let's just say the animal expresses its feelings loudly and messily, and Beauchamp spends the next several minutes deeply unhappy. Rob goes home, hides the bag of raw meat Beauchamp gave him, and stares at the keys in his hand. The question forms clearly in his mind for the first time: should he use them? Sina arrives the next day, gets caught up to speed, and immediately lights up. They have the keys. They can open the cage. They can free the tiger right now. Rob isn't so sure. He thinks about Willie's bird. He thinks about what it means to release a captive animal into a world it's no longer prepared for. What if it doesn't survive? Sina thinks that's beside the point. Freedom is the point. The tiger's dignity is the point. They can't agree. And then Sina does something surprising. She grabs the cage bars and shakes them, her frustration spilling over into grief. She starts to cry. Rob doesn't argue with her. He doesn't tell her she's wrong. He just waits. And then he gently helps her remove the heavy canvas covering the top of the cage so the tiger can at least feel the sky. That night, the two of them lie on the ground beside the cage and watch the stars. It's one of the most quietly beautiful scenes in the film. When they get back to the motel, they run into Willie. Sina, still raw and volatile, speaks to her sharply. Willie doesn't take the bait. Instead, she sits with Sina's anger and talks to her, gently but honestly. She tells Sina that she recognizes her. She used to be exactly like this. All fire and no filter. And it cost her. Willie's advice isn't to stop caring. It's to learn how to channel it. Because the world won't soften just because you're hurting. Sina goes quiet. Those words land somewhere deep. But Rob's night isn't over. When he gets home, his father is waiting, holding the bag of raw meat. He demands to know where it came from. Rob tells the truth, Beauchamp gave it to him. His father assumes the worst, that Beauchamp is mocking them. Treating them like they're desperate enough to eat anything. He throws the bag against the wall. Rob watches his father crumble a little. He reaches out to check on him. His father tells him to leave him alone. Rob goes outside and starts carving. It's all he knows to do. The next morning, Willie receives a gift. Rob has carved her a small wooden bird, and the moment she sees it, she understands exactly what it means. She smiles and holds it like something precious. When Sina arrives, she has news: her mother has officially forbidden her from coming to see Rob anymore. Sina has officially decided she doesn't care. She's here. She's staying. They need to talk to Willie about the tiger. Willie doesn't believe them at first. So they take her into the forest and show her. The sight of the tiger in that cage changes something in Willie's face. She recognizes the wrongness of it immediately. But when Sina demands that Rob open the cage right now, Willie hesitates. She explains carefully, releasing a captive animal is not as simple as unlocking a door. This tiger has been in a cage. It may not know how to survive in the wild. The forest is real. The risks are real. Sina erupts. She says wild animals are meant to be wild. The panthers already living in that area do just fine. The tiger will figure it out. Willie says something that stops everyone: sometimes the right decision and the safe decision are not the same thing. And sometimes that means standing back and letting the situation be handled by people with more power to fix it properly. Sina hates that answer. She says she'll wait for her father to come. She's convinced he'll agree with her. He'll know what to do. And then Rob says something that cuts deep. He tells Sina maybe her mother is right about her father. Maybe he isn't who she thinks he is. Sina stares at him. Then she ends the friendship. Right there, in the middle of the forest. She tells him she hates him and never wants to speak to him again. And she walks away. Rob stands there. Willie puts a hand on his shoulder. They start back toward the motel. But Rob stops. He turns. He watches Sina walking into the distance. And he makes a decision. He runs after her. When he catches up, he tells her he's changed his mind. He wants to free the tiger. For real. For her. For them. Sina searches his face. She believes him. They don't get far before Beauchamp appears. He gives Rob another errand, pick up more meat later at the motel, and drives off toward the hotel, apparently needing to settle something with Rob's father. The moment his car disappears, Rob and Sina look at each other. Now. It has to be now. They run. At the cage, Rob pulls out the keys. His hands are steady. One by one, he works through the padlocks, heavy, solid things designed to hold. They click open. The cage door swings. The tiger doesn't rush. It stands slowly, stretching its enormous body. It walks to the opening. It pauses, right there between Rob and Sina, close enough to touch. And they do touch it. Just once. just briefly. Their hands on the tiger's fur. Then it turns. And it walks into the trees. Then it breaks into a run, and it roars. The sound fills the entire forest like something waking up. Rob and Sina watch it go, their chests heaving, their eyes shining. They did it. They actually did it. And then everything breaks apart. A gunshot rings through the forest. Sina crumbles to the ground, gasping, not wounded, but overtaken by pure shock and terror. Rob grabs her and they run toward the sound, toward the road. What they find there destroys something in Rob. The tiger is on the ground. Still. And Rob's father is standing there holding a gun. Rob's world collapses. He can't process it. He doesn't understand. How could his father, how could he? But the truth is more complicated than Rob realizes. Beauchamp had arrived at the motel and gotten into a violent confrontation with Rob's father. There had been a struggle. A weapon. And then the tiger, newly freed, following its instincts, had attacked. Rob's father fired to stop the attack. It was chaos. It was not supposed to happen like this. Willie arrives. Sina is held gently. And Rob stands beside the tiger, unable to move. Then something breaks open in him that has been sealed shut for months. He turns to his father and starts pushing him, crying and shouting that he hates him, that he doesn't want to live with him anymore. The grief and rage pour out of him all at once, grief for the tiger, yes. But more than that, grief for his mother. Because his father, since the day she died, has never once spoken her name. Not once. And Rob has been carrying that silence like a wound that won't close. He demands it. Say her name. His father breaks. He says it, Caroline. One word. And it costs him everything to say it. He pulls his son into his arms, and they hold each other beside the body of the tiger in the middle of the Florida woods, both of them finally letting go. Nearby, Willie holds Sina and doesn't say a word. Sometimes that's all you can do. Beauchamp, shaken and diminished, gets helped up and quietly leaves. He has no power here anymore. Willie looks at Rob's legs. The wounds there, the ones that have caused him so much trouble, so much exclusion, so much pain, seem to be healing. Something in her face softens with relief. As everyone slowly leaves that place in the forest, Sina finds the drawing Rob made of the tiger, the one where it's free, moving through the trees the way it was always meant to. She holds it carefully. She tells him it's beautiful. He tells her she can keep it. She gives him a small kiss on the cheek. And together, these two broken, brave, imperfect kids walk out of the forest side by side, toward whatever comes next. Because this movie doesn't end with everything fixed. The tiger is gone. Caroline is still gone. The bullies are still on the bus tomorrow. The skin condition hasn't magically healed. But something has changed. Something essential. Rob said her name, or rather, made his father say it. And that name, finally spoken out loud, released something. Grief doesn't vanish. But it can move. It can breathe. It can stop being a locked cage. Maybe that was the point all along. Maybe the tiger was never just a tiger. Okay, if you watched this entire breakdown and didn't subscribe yet, I have one question for you. What exactly are you waiting for? We do this every single week. Full movie explained, zero spoilers skipped, all the emotional gut punches included. Hit subscribe. Right now. The button is right there. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think Rob and Sina made the right call freeing the tiger? Or did Willie have a point, that some situations need to be left to people with more power to fix them properly? Drop your take in the comment section. Let's talk about it.